let's get one thing straight. I think Diego Costa is a fantastic footballer. I think that he has, the ability of a top quality striker. I think that, he's just a really good all-round footballer. But when it comes to his actual, personality and his aggression, I think that today he was out of order, but in general, it's sort of a dying art if you think about it. This sort of case of the striker winding up to the defender to try and get a reaction out of them. Players such as Ian Wright have done so in the past. They've even admitted to it, which is sort of, it shows a bit of hypocrisy coming from the Arsenal fans when they criticise Diego Costa for sort of being this sort of aggressive kind of character who tries to wind up the defenders, because we as a club are guilty of several people in the past doing so as well. But what I will say today is that I believe Diego Costa did step out of line, as in I believe that sort of, to make this sound unbiased as possible, I think that the way he reacted today was very unprofessional, just because I find that the whole incident involving Gabrielle was to be blamed for the two parties had a blame in it. Gabriel obviously shouldn't have reacted to start off with, because he should know by now. He's been in it, the BPL for long enough, over 6 months now, and he should know what kind of player Diego Costa is. And I believe he's played against him out in Spain as well. So if I'm wrong, correct me, but he should already know what type of player Costa is. And the fact that he has reacted is stupid. It's just he shouldn't have done so. But it's just the fact that the whole incident began with Koscielny. Obviously, Koscielny was behind Costa while the ball was coming to him, and Costa obviously decided to have a few digs at Koscielny, which is totally out of order, because you aren't supposed to touch the face of another player in football matches. And if anything, what he was doing should have merited a straight red card, in my opinion. The referee obviously didn't really acknowledge this, which is, you can argue both ways. But it was the incident afterwards where they both chest butted and Koscielny went to the floor. Koscielny has received a bit of criticism I've seen over Twitter for this, which I find, just ludicrous, because at the end of the day, he might have got out-muscled, but at the same time he might have, just gone down because he doesn't want to sort of react the same way as Costa did. You can argue many things about what happened in that situation, but what is clear is that Costa was literally pushing it to the, he was pushing it, he was literally hanging on by a thread, and he got away with it. He got away with it. Would I say that this sort of, this sort of play style should be allowed? Well, yeah. Not the the violent side where he's going ahead and hitting players and so forth like he did with Koscielny today, but this sort of style of going out and trying to wind up the defender, or the defender's trying to wind up the striker, is sort of a dying art in sort of football terms, because as I said, a lot of players have used it in the past before. What I will say here and now is that Diego Costa should have been sent off in that match, but then I am not going to defend Gabriel at all, because Gabriel as well deserved to be sent off. At the end of the day, Gabriel should not have reacted like that by stamping on Costa's foot. I do find that Costa's and the Chelsea players' reactions was so theatrical it could have ended up on an episode of EastEnders, but that's how football goes these days. At the end of the day, if you don't crowd around the the referee, you're not sane, apparently. It's as stupid as that. And this sort of style that I've seen many clubs do before, but Chelsea have sort of gained a lot of mainstream public view on it, as sort of it's starting to spread to other clubs, and it's quite a shame really that this is happening. But Costa should have been sent off. It's evident, you know, a lot of what he was doing through the game. Not even to just that incident. Even in the opening few minutes where he got the ball and Sanchez was chasing after him, and I can't say there was much contact. If there was contact there, it was so weak, and he went down and he was asking for Sanchez to get booked. Now Sanchez does that all the time, so I can't be too hypocritical, but at that point I sort of thought it's going to be one of these type of games where Costa's going to try and wind up a lot of the players, and it worked. It worked to a charm. But it is quite disappointing, you know, that this happened. So actually onto the overall game. I'm very disappointed with our performance. Now a lot of people will argue that the referee did affect our game, which he did, obviously, because he sent off 2 players. But when we were down to 10 men, after Gabrielle sending off just before the second half, I just thought to myself, game over. Now you can say that as a sort of, you know, lack of trust with the team, but at that point I thought, you know, the players sort of looked diminished. They didn't look into the game at all. I do, however, feel that in the first half and, you know, spells in the second half, we were very dominant at points, but we didn't really take advantage of this sort of spells of dominance, and it sort of showed today that once we're put under pressure, obviously the pressure today is the red card, that we crumble, and it's happening way too often. Against Zagreb in the week, we obviously had Giroud sent off. Second he was sent off, we just couldn't do anything to get back into the game. It seems like the second any sort of pressure is put onto us, we just crumble. We can't be asked to carry on, if anything. And this isn't the Arsenal I've grown up to watch. You know, I've been watching Arsenal since I was 5. I've watched us through the Invincibles. I've watched us as we play at our new stadium. And even the Arsenal of, say, 2007, 2008 showed a more passion than what this new squad is doing at the moment. And players like Ozil, Sanchez, even Ramsey, after what they've shown in the past, should be producing much better than what they are. And it's hard not to get angry at their performances, because I find that these are professionals who have, you know, had so much time to practice, and they're giving us displays of a League 2 team in some games this season, especially this week, which has infuriated me so much by our performances against Zagreb and now Chelsea. I felt that we showed no passion and we had no drive to us after the sending off to sort of get back into the game. That's how I personally feel about today's game. You might disagree, but I'm just sort of really upset by the fact that we showed no sort of passion to sort of no fight. There was 1 or 2 players that stood out. You know, Sanchez was trying to get back into the game, but for some reason the quality from last season is only showing in certain points, and these certain points aren't being taken, you know, advantage of. There were several points where he was, you know, leaving Ivanovic in the dust, but we weren't taking advantage of these situations, and I blame mostly of that is because of the lack of signings that Wenger made. I can't fully blame him, because the players should be putting in a better performance than they are, but it is a massive sort of issue at the moment, and I think that if we lose against Tottenham and if we don't get a positive result, I believe we're playing Leicester next, then our club is definitely in for another just top 4 finish, I think. But it's going to be one of those struggle seasons again where I think we'll finish 4th. We need to start, you know, manning up basically. Once we go down, once pressure's put onto us, we need to start acting like men, not children, and carry on. Fight for it. Everybody needs some more passion. So it's really difficult to sort of say. It's just something is missing in this squad, and I don't know what it is. Arsenal last season looked ready to challenge for the title, but something has happened during pre-season. Maybe complacency, maybe pressure, but we don't look anywhere near getting to the title or regaining any sort of trophy this season. Now it is early days, we can change this, but will it change is the question, hopefully. But it's just very disappointing when we could have won today's game if we went out with a sort of better mentality, I think. You might disagree, but it's solely my opinion. So thank you for watching, guys. This has sort of just been a small rant video from me, and yeah, ta-ra.